20 minutes left to go in what has been, lately at least, a dominant game for Syracuse. We went into the first intermission tied at 1-1 between Syracuse and Niagara, and then 3 unanswered goals by the Orange in the second period have us out to where we are now, 4-1 in favor of the home team. Syracuse looking for their first win in this building of the new year, and they're only a few short minutes from doing that. Alongside Brooke Kilgore, I'm Caleb Spinner. This has been a physical game, a lot of goal scoring, particularly recently. There's been a lot to look at, good and bad for both teams.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a game of momentum changes. I think a lot of fans came into this thinking that Niagara was going to put up more of a fight, probably dominate the Orange, and the Orange were going to be on the other side of a comeback. But here we are, Syracuse leading 4-1. We've seen goalie changes, we've seen injuries, we've seen referees been slammed into the boards. We've seen a lot happening here, and it's about to get really intense. As Pete Carroll liked to say in the NFL, you don't win until that last quarter, that last period of a game. So the Orange are going to have to make their mark right now.
And it hasn't been a perfect game for Syracuse, but it's certainly been the home opener that they wanted in the new year 2025, their first time in this 2025 that they're playing on their home ice. They played Friday rather at Niagara in Dyer Arena, but this their first action on their home ice, and it certainly looked good so far. We'll see how we close out between the Orange and the Purple Eagles. The Orange in their home whites, the Eagles in their third jerseys, the Suicide Awareness black sweaters.
Syracuse has done relatively well at home so far this season. 6-4, still not the record that you 100% want. Some of those games potentially could have gone either way, but their away record was 2-7-2, just adding that second overtime loss there on Friday. So Syracuse is looking to maybe come into the new year. Maybe Timmons had them write down their New Year's resolutions at the start of the season, and we're seeing a lot of change. As we mentioned earlier in this game, Syracuse not really a first period team coming out and showing their colors, but right out of the gates, even though there was only that one goal, and then we had 3 more in that second period, Syracuse has taken a lead and established it, Caleb.
I can only imagine some of the things that were on that resolutions list. A game at the On Center, a pro contract,
yes,
new skates. The sky's the limit on what they could have written down. Doing something as an extra thick pair of mittens with how this Syracuse winter has started.
Oh my goodness, Caleb, tell me about it. I came back a couple days early for RA training, and it was about 4 feet tall. I felt like I was slipping and falling into the snow wherever I went. It's horrible.
Minute and a half gone in the third period. Brand new goaltender for Niagara, replacing Dubinsky, is Brady McEwen. Had a few shots to get warmed up in the second period towards the end of the frame, but this is going to be his first period of action. We'll see how he squares up against an Orange team that particularly recently has been very hot shooting the puck.
Definitely.
Chabot clacks it off his stick in the neutral zone before heading over to his bench for a change. Out of the zone comes Ryan Thomas for the Orange. Plays it up ahead to Larkin. Puck goes into the corner and now behind the goal as it's picked up by Peter Spaveni. Talked about these uniforms. Niagara came in wearing the black, light green, and purple. Not their usual university colors, but they're promoting suicide awareness. Very important cause here, and one of the only teams whose third jerseys promote a great cause. A lot of them you'll put in black just as an alternate look, but these have a purpose. Puck moved out of play, so we'll get a face-off in Niagara's end of the ice. Just under 18 minutes to play in the final frame of regulation. Hard to imagine we'd get an overtime out of this with how the lead is now and how Syracuse has been playing lately, but crazier things have happened, Brooke.
Yes, they definitely have. Talk a lot about it. This game has been full of things that I guess you and I weren't really ready to see, like Syracuse coming storming out the gate. We've seen a lot of physicality. Brendan Duffy, Eli Pendergrass getting that unsportsmanlike penalty there at the end of the first period. A lot of physicality because the Orange know that they have a lot to fight for right now. Currently tied for 4th place in the ESCHL. They want a chance to see a postseason berth in that conference playoff series, and taking down a team like Niagara, the number 7th ranked team in the country, could get you a nice amount of points to take that lead away from Drexel, who is currently 4th place with 22.
If anybody knows that comebacks are possible, it's the Niagara Purple Eagles. On Friday, they had a lead going late into the 3rd period. They watched Syracuse put up a few late goals and come back to force overtime. Now, the Purple Eagles held on in overtime off a game winner from Charlie Belanger, but they certainly know that there's never too little time on the clock to where a comeback can happen, especially in hockey. A few quick time goals to get momentum late, that can do the trick.
Definitely agree, and I mean, Belanger has been very quiet today, aside from a couple probably really big hits and moments there. It's mostly been guys that, you know, are top line for Niagara, but we just haven't seen a lot of. I mean, you see that goal, Seth Cutler, and then after that, it's been very quiet. A couple penalties on a couple guys here and there, but Niagara just doesn't look to be themselves right now.
Belanger not only had the game winner, it closed out a hat trick for him on Friday, but we have yet to see a goal from him today. The only goal so far for Niagara coming from Seth Coulter. And there's another one. We'll ring this up to Quinn Schneidmiller.
Take a look here at this replay. Kind of close quarters, as we talked about. Syracuse really likes that try, but Quinn Schneidmiller puts it up, takes that big slap shot, and the rebound process is incredible. Taking a look around, trying to see what's going on. That's the reason why he's in the top 3 of top point scorers for Niagara. He's actually one of the only defensemen to be in that lane at the moment for the Purple Eagles.
And Schneidmiller, a defenseman, but he's averaging almost a point per game over his ACHA career. He's got 90 points in 108 games, now make it 91 in 109. And he had a goal and assist against the Orange on Friday. He has been certainly very hot, but particularly when you look at what the typical duties of a defenseman are, which is to pass the puck and get on the back check. He's flipped the script on what a D-man can do.
I was about to say, defensemen really are known for hanging back and making sure that their forwards are set up and ready to skirt all the way back to their own D zone if needed. But Syracuse and Niagara are lucky. They're unique. They have guys that can do both. They can move around the puck and set up plays in productive manners. And it's good to see. While, of course, you don't want goals scored on your own, it's nice to see defensemen sticking up a little bit for themselves and playing some hard puck.
The Orange called for offside as Vasilevsky was across the blue line early. Neutral zone face-off upcoming. Emery will come in, the Syracuse freshman, ties it up with Goodnesson. Wins it for Syracuse, a long slapper from out in the neutral zone by Sean Cato. An easy glove save for McEwen. McEwen came in relief of Jacob Dubinsky, who started the day. McEwen playing his 11th career game. And this is his first season. 187 goals against average and a 939 save percentage for the man out of Ashton, Ontario. Puck wrapped around the boards. It's Kalen, who's in the vicinity for it. Had to chase it all the way down to avoid the icing. He put those jets on and beat the puck into the corner. Now Niagara set up for some time on the attack. Davies into the circle, glove save by Finta. McEwen also started the season off with 4 straight wins, including one against the Orange right here in Kennedy Ice Pavilion back on October 5th. He went on to win 6 of his first 7 games in the year. Certainly a hot start by any metric. Can't imagine a hotter start except for 7 of 7.
Definitely. I'm sure the Niagara Lions feel a little bit more confident going out, knowing that, yes, while Davinsky did let in a couple of goals, they now have a goaltender back there who has a lot of success under his belt and can hopefully set them up as well for success and give them more of an opportunity to go harder against these Syracuse D-lines and AJ Finta.
Shot from Jakob Callan goes wide of Finta in the goal. AJ Finta, on the other hand, playing his 13th game today, an .879 save percentage, but he has been pretty solid today. A big stone wall, stopping 24 of 26 Niagara shots. Not the best save percentage on the team. That goes to John Angelino at .882. but certainly working his way up there with a great day today.
Yeah, 13 games played, those 6 wins, 5 losses, no overtime losses, but that one shootout that they had not too long ago. AJ Finta, in his 3 seasons so far, he's only a junior, so we've got him one more year, producing some good save percentages, you know, kind of staying just below 900. Last season he had a 896 save percentage and then 878 his freshman year. But Finta proves to be strong. You know, he's going to put everything he can in way of that puck, and of course we all make mistakes, but he tends to be the more reliable goaltender in moments like these.
And certainly because of that reason, he gets more action than his counterpart Angelino. Angelino's only played 4 games. This the 13th for Finta. He's their primary option between the pipes, and he knocks the net off there as he tries to slide to cover the puck as it was working back around his net.
The 2 of them actually signed a 1-day contract with the Syracuse Crunch, our AHL minor league team affiliated with the Tampa Bay Lightning, just down the road at the War Memorial. And, you know, you could tell we had our social media content production people go down and film, and they were having the time of their lives taking shots from guys probably twice their size. I mean, Milo Rollins being like practically 6'11" on skates. They were taking a lot of shots, and it just looked like a great time for them.
Not just the size of the players, but the speed, too, at that shot.
Yes.
A lot more muscle behind those slaps on the ice. Schneidmiller plays it in his own end. Some calls from the Syracuse side as they wanted that play stopped as the puck went into the netting. They didn't get the break. But here comes Sam Hutchinson. Feeds it over to Brock Alvers, who's got a goal already today. That shot goes wide of the net, up into that protective netting above the glass, and stops play with just under 13 and a half minutes to go in the 3rd period. We'll talk a little bit coming up about what's next on tap for Syracuse, but looking at Niagara after this, they go back home for a 2-game series against Pitt, and then they're on the road to Liberty and Ohio, 2 of the top teams in the ACHA. That's a tough ask in terms of a road schedule.
Well, I mean, take a look at their time with Liberty on the 1st of November. Shootout win. Practically held scoreless through all 60 minutes. And then the next day, 3-2 shootout win again. This team, Liberty has proved to be a force. Syracuse played them in their, you know, annual midnight game out there and had, you know, while it was definitely a loss to not remember, I remember the players talking about how much fun they had. Liberty is such an intense team with a great setup out there. They really had such a great time, and I'm sure the Niagara team enjoys spending some time out there as well.
Icing down at the other end for the Niagara Purple Eagles. They'll head back down to Syracuse ice. Take a look at the upcoming schedule here for Syracuse. They're off next weekend, and then they're on the road at Delaware for 2 games, then at Drexel for 2 games, and then they've got a home and home at the start of February against the Oswego State Lakers. Puck loose in the neutral zone, now heads into Niagara's defensive end, where the Purple Eagles will play it out. A little too hard on the pass from Little off the boards. Porterfield moves it back. McCormick, a long pass up the ice to Little. Syracuse clacking sticks, trying to throw off the Niagara attack. McCormick handling above the dot. Puck goes behind Finta. Comes out in front to the slot. Loose puck. Picked up by Cato and moved ahead. Cato once again playing back and forth with this Niagara attack. They send it down to the Syracuse end. He sends it right back. And so on and so forth before that shot is put hard into the face mask of Finta by Charlie Belanger. And Syracuse took offense to that as it went right up into his face mask. The officials getting involved to separate players. We already had 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties at the end of the 1st period. As we take another look at it here, looks like we'll get 2 more as looks like Vasilevsky and Belanger will head to the box. What those penalties are yet to be determined. Officials talking with both benches. We'll go 4-on-4 for the next 2 minutes. As minor penalties are given to both Vasilevsky and Belanger. Syracuse figuring out which players they want to counter. Finally send it out.
2 minutes, roughing. Tested, 9:45.
Both of those penalties announced as roughing calls. Into a stick save right off the rip from Davies. Brown takes control at the dot. Technically both teams on the power play, though we're an even 4-on-4 for the next minute 40. Brown chases it into the corner. Not a lot of speed behind that. He's more than happy to sit on the clock and watch the seconds burn off as Syracuse enjoys a 3-goal lead, rather 2-goal lead. That score moments ago from Quinn Schneidmiller to start this third period cut the deficit down to 2 for the Purple Eagles. But we mentioned Niagara with the top power play unit among D1 independents in the ACHA. They're looking to put it on the test here. Chesner turns in a ripper from the slot, but we'll get a whistle all the way down on the other end of the ice as Brown hit the sheet. And it looked like the man who set him there illegally was Cameron Shepard. Shepard will head to the box and give Syracuse a power play, or rather no, Brown is going to join him. Though it's hard to tell with the action down on one side of the ice what exactly happened on the other to send both Brown and Shepard to the box. But we'll get 4-on-4 for another 2 minutes. All told, technically, we're going to get, should be 4-on-4 still, yes. Had to sort that out in my brain. This is one of those rules that you don't typically see when it's 4-on-4 and then another penalty comes in.
Yeah, Jake Brown earning his 2 extra minutes, notching 83 penalty minutes. He's actually 6th in the ACHA overall. Of course, other teams have taken more penalty minutes, but Jake Brown, we're not surprised to see him in there, are we, Caleb?
Well, I know what he's going to tell you. He's going to say that's personal improvement, that he's no longer leading them like he was last year. He had the top amount in the ACHA last year with 94. And if he's outside the top 5, he's going to look at that as personal growth.
Number one in the ACHA right now, Shane Bentley of Oakland University, 111 penalty minutes. So he's got some catching up to do, definitely.
Jake Brown, eat your heart out. Those are the words, no doubt, of Shane Bentley. Assuming he follows Syracuse hockey enough to have that competition and know who Jake Brown actually is. 30 seconds to go on the penalties to Belanger and Vasilevsky. Just over 10 minutes to play in the final period of action between Syracuse and Niagara. Von Tersch enters the zone, using the glass to his advantage as he wraps it around behind the net. Loft looking to play out of the zone. Here comes Kalen. Kalen skates in, stick save, rebound knocked dangerously close to the net, and now as Finta tries to stay in, the net comes off. Niagara furious that they'll have to stop and redo this faceoff as they had momentum. 2 threatening shots that came in the direction of Finta. As you take a look here, and they were primed for a third before the net came off.
Successfully pulled him out of his crease too. If they had gotten that rebound, sent it around the board and just placed it in gently right there, they would have had a 1-goal game, but instead, net comes undone. Maybe the net's in favor of Syracuse in this moment. Not really liking the Purple Eagles. We'll have to see. But yes, unfortunate for the Eagles that they have to restart this faceoff.
And that's easily something that you typically see when teams are trailing and the opposing team knocks the net off, intentional or not. You see them quick to react to it, thinking it's intentional, especially if they're on the attack. That time it looked like Finta was just reacting, lifted it off as he was trying to move over to his right. And thus we got the stoppage, but back underway now. 9.5 minutes to play in the third period. Syracuse ahead of Niagara 4-2. Hutchinson out of the slot, takes it down to Niagara, ice it, scores! Sam Hutchinson, welcome back! The captain, after spending a lot of time out with an injury, puts Syracuse back ahead by 3.
take a look at this play. As we mentioned, that face-off was deadly for Niagara, having to stop. Sam Hutchinson keeps his cool, sends it in off the bounce, off of McEwen, and goes straight in. The fifth-year captain, establishing the reason why he's wearing that C. He's got it on lock.
Fifth goal of the year for the man out of Dorchester, Massachusetts, the graduate. Wore an A in both of the last 2 seasons before getting the captain's C this year. At his first goal since November 1st on the road against IUP. He no doubt is the happiest man on the Syracuse bench right now, having gotten the monkey off his back. And he's back into the goal scoring column.
Talked with him, again, like we mentioned earlier, when we thought last year was going to be his last year in an orange uniform. Hutchinson was on his way to hitting 100, but we were a little nervous coming out and not seeing a lot of him due to injury. He's currently sitting at 81, 82-ish now with that last goal. Hutchie, he's got a chance to reinvigorate that momentum, and maybe we will see a 100-point season out of him.
No assists coming along with that goal. Hutchison did it all by himself. Syracuse, a great place to go to grad school anyways, but no doubt wanted to spend another year with his guys after being on this team and being such a big part of it, particularly when it comes to leading them on the ice. A delayed penalty here. Vasilevsky's going to head back to the box after just coming out of it for a roughing call. He'll sit for 2 more and put Niagara on their power play, converting at 44%. Can't say it enough. When the Eagles have an extra skater, they're even more deadly.
And what a blessing for head coach Chris Timmons, knowing that Sam Hutchinson was here and present to help these youngsters get an understanding of what was to come, what to understand. You know, when he went to high school, he was surpassing 100 points easy in his career. His head coach is telling stories of how incredible he was for their program and how proud they were to see him continue at the collegiate level and see him once again cement the reasons why he gets to go out there with that C on his chest.
McEwen tripped up in the dot. Lucky that didn't turn into a goal from Solt, who was right there in prime position to put it home in an empty net. Niagara down the other way. These Syracuse penalty killers, lucky for that last break as Von Tersch started off the penalty kill without a glove. He lost it in the slot, was playing with an uncovered hand, and then finally when it came down to McEwen's side of the ice, he was able to go back, pick it up, and now he skates off to the bench for some rest.
A little glove won't stop Von Tersch. You've seen him. He may be shorter than his other defensemen and other teammates out there, but he's going to give you a run for his money.
Hockey players are a different breed. Full head of steam. Here comes Jakob Callan. 42 seconds to go on the Niagara power play. They're down 3. Got to think a goal here would go a long way towards getting Niagara back in this one. Not just on the scoreboard, but momentum-wise as well. They started off this period with a goal to cut the lead to 2 for Syracuse. Then a goal moments ago by Sam Hutchinson put Syracuse back out in front, and now the Orange are going to get hit with another penalty.
That play was still happening, and they're waiting for them to call the delayed penalty. McEwen actually skated off. They were trying to throw in that extra skater, but McEwen was a little slow to get off the ice. I'm curious if when he was roughed up out there on that right dot, something happened, and I'm also curious to see how Niagara would handle the loss of another goalie. You know that Dubinsky's out for probably giving up those 4 goals and just not being in the right mental headspace, but if McEwen is not looking too sharp out there, what are they going to do?
Syracuse on the wrong side of a 5-on-3 for the next 17 seconds before Niagara moves back, still on the man advantage, but out to 5-on-4. The Eagles trying to find something here, but a big clear from Syracuse. Getting a stick on that and sending it out of the danger zone was Carter Rugg.
All Carter Rugg. He was waiting, he was standing right by AJ Finta, providing that line of support. Finta giving his all, throwing his body around for that play.
First penalty expires. Vasilevsky comes out of the box. Chesner is going to go for that second one. That's going to keep us with the man advantage in favor of Niagara. 1:40 left to go on his power play as the Purple Eagles skate 5-on-4. Wren ties up with Cody Gudnison for the faceoff. Gudnison wins it for the Purple Eagles, and then Schneidmiller wraps it around the boards. Minute and a half to go on the man advantage.
Take a second to appreciate that penalty kill that Syracuse was in. Down a man, probably a little nervous to see several Purple Eagles coming flying at them, and they were able to evade it just long enough to get Vasilevsky back out there on the ice. That 71% in terms of their penalty kill is really showing through here. And what Timmons talked about with discipline earlier today, it's proving, and it's coming in crucial moments that Syracuse really needs.
Pendergrass trying to slow down Charlie Belanger as he gains the blue line. Has to leave the puck back in the far slot. Loose in between the circles and now kicked out to McCormick as Syracuse tried to clear. Finta with a little check of his stick off of that puck. Watches this one go one-on-one with Loft and makes another big deny. Syracuse calling for a stoppage here. You can hear that bench all the way over on the other side of the ice where we are very vocal as of late. They have a lot of reason to, down a skater against the best penalty killing team in the Independents and one of the best in the ACHL as a whole.
A lot of frustration also coming from the bench. A couple of missed calls that I saw out there. Sean Cato getting pulled to the ground essentially by a man going down. Probably a couple tripping here and there on both sides, but I'm sure the frustration starting to build on both ends of the bench, trying to hope that these referees are going to start calling more plays and turn the tide a little bit. Maybe Niagara can start going on their own penalty kill and Syracuse can start showing out.
Connor Chesner in the penalty box standing as he's got 20 seconds left on his violation. Little turns one in. Right pad saved by Finta, but Little gets the rebound. Works it out to the circle to Callan, too strong. Callan has to play it at the blue line, now moves it back to Little. Little turns one in, blocked away by Finta.
Syracuse returns to full strength.
And that will kill off the penalty. AJ Finta and the Syracuse penalty killers come up big, and now they've got to break out of their own. Pendergrass walks in, wet wide. One-on-one opportunity against McEwen, and he put it long.
From our angle, it looked like a wide open lane for him to take a shot in, and then you watch that puck whiz by, and it felt like it was going the opposite direction. Clear to see, you still have to stay disciplined. You have the 3-goal advantage here, but even though there's 4 minutes left on the clock, teams can come back, teams can sense that weakness when you're not trying as hard, not staying as disciplined, and they will take advantage of it. Niagara is still in this game.
That was at even strength, but even shorthanded, Syracuse has 5 goals, down a skater. That's first among teams in the ESCHL. And fun fact, all 5 of those belong to Ryan Thomas, the freshman.
Proof that the defense side of things matters more than just blocking the puck. They can make it happen.
Couldn't have said it better myself. You're a true wordsmith, Brooke Kilgore. Davies plays it up, but his feed is picked off by Duffy, who loses a stick and decides to kick it along instead.
Ian McIntyre is calling Brendan Duffy right now, trying to recruit him for the men's soccer team.
When you don't have a blade on a stick, use the blade on your skate. It all counts. Gilbrid's with it, guarded by Alvers, who then has to switch after Gilbrid dishes it away to DiMatteo. Porterfield with it. He'll dump it in before taking a healthy hack from Vasilevsky right in front of the near glass. 2:45 to play in the third period. Niagara trailing Syracuse by 3. Purple Eagles enter the zone. Belanger turns one in. It's knocked up into the netting by the glove hand of Finta. Looked like Belanger blew a tire there at the end of that play. He's down in between the circles, and Niagara's bench shouting in from the right side of that ice, calling for a violation, but the officials just say, guys, he blew a tire. That's it.
Not sure. I'm looking at the Niagara bench. It could be Seth Cutler. I'm not 100% sure from this distance. Their jersey's bending away. You can't read the number, but slamming sticks of frustration against the glass, against their own end of the penalty box. Niagara's frustrated, and Niagara's wearing out.
The number 7 Purple Eagles trail the unranked Syracuse Orange by 3, 5-2 here at the Kennedy Ice Pavilion as Syracuse looks for their first win of 2025. Finta, another blocker save as Robinson turned in a shot from distance. Into the corner, Brown pressuring, but it gets out to Schneegmiller, who had a goal already, but he won't get a second one off that as Finta makes the scooping glove save. 2 minutes and change to go in this final period of regulation, and Brooke, not to call it too early,
Let's not
it
do
looks
that.
like Syracuse is in pretty good shape.
They are in pretty good shape. The momentum is on their side. If your bench is excited, cheering you on, you have the momentum. They're playing physical, and as long as they don't give up any inexcusable penalties here to put themselves in a man down, although they did have a successful penalty kill there, they should be okay. I emphasize the should. I don't want to call anything too early.
Most teams, when they play Niagara, doesn't matter how many times you kill off the penalty kill, you don't want to go back on it, as it's only a matter of time before they take advantage. Out to the point, Thomas works it deep. Too long for Gargurovich. Pendergrass, the next one in the area, but he doesn't beat Peter Spumeni to it for Niagara. Backhanded up, swiped at by Thomas. Wide open now, Shepard. Poked away by Von Tersch, who then takes a hit to the glass. And Syracuse will get a power play off of this. Finta waving his glove above his head. No doubt reacting to what he thinks is the dagger.
I haven't seen the Orange this physical in a long time. Usually you see this kind of stuff coming later on. We're gonna take a look at the replay here, and that ref throwing his arm up, and hopefully we got a shot of Finta skating off, but if you weren't too sure, he's hyping up the crowd, calling for it. He knows what's going on, but usually we see this kind of level of physicality when Pitt comes to play, or rival teams across. And Niagara last time, a couple years ago, shut down the Orange. There was no opportunity for the Orange to really display this level of physicality and call for these level of penalties, but now they are. They have the upper hand. And unless Niagara can turn around 3 goals in a minute and 18, the Orange are pretty happy.
Cameron Shepard rung up for that penalty, serving 2 minutes for Niagara. He'll be in the box for the remainder of this game. Syracuse with a win today not only would get their first of the new year 2025, but they would also avoid a season series sweep, as Niagara has won each of the 3 games previous. 2 at Dwyer Arena, 1 here. And with under 50 seconds to go, it looks like the Orange will prevail.
Backup goaltender John Angelino sharing some words with Shepard in the box over there, having a good time. That's also what it's about. Yes, this is the top 7 team in the country, but these guys are having a good time, and I'm sure Niagara respects that the Orange fought and they worked hard, and Syracuse did earn this win.
Jesner playing it out on the far side. Final half minute of this game. McEwen will get a glove save to cover, and will get what should be the last shift of this fantastic contest, the first in this barn of the new year. Syracuse is going to remember this one. Face-off won by the Orange. Vasilevsky dumps it below the goal line. Picked up by Davies. Final 10 seconds of the period. Vasilevsky will skate out of the zone and kill off the rest of this time. Syracuse upsets Niagara. What a start to 2025 for the Orange. Syracuse avoids the season series sweep. They'll still lose the series, but that's not even close to being on the mind of any of these Orange players. They're happy to get one against the number 7 team in the country.
Just talk about improvement. When we left in 2024, Syracuse was letting themselves give away games and letting goals that should have been theirs not happen. And now we're walking out, and I swear there had to be a vision board made by Chris Timmons, and they're achieving it right now. Syracuse took advantage of all the little moments, whether it be Sean Caddo opening up plays, Jake Brown allowing that Brock Alvarez goal to happen just because he was in his position at the right time. They didn't let a moment get away from them, and that allowed them to set up play after play, stay physical. They had their bench celebrating. They trusted in each other. And Finta doing his job in the crease behind the pipes and just staying focused, staying committed, not letting 2 goals dissuade him in any manner. And that's been kind of the theme for this series.
Between Friday and today, we thank you so much for starting off your new year with us here on the SU Hockey Network. Plenty of more action coming up as the Orange return in this new year. They've got the weekend off next year, but next weekend. But January 24th and 25th, they're on the road against Delaware. They'll follow that up with another road trip to Pennsylvania to take on the Drexel Dragons. And then they're back here at Kennedy on the 8th for a home-and-home against Oswego. One there, one here. We'll have coverage of all of those games, radio and TV, streaming on the SU Hockey Network right here for free on YouTube. Syracuse wins this one 5-2, clipping the wings of the Niagara Purple Eagles here at the Kennedy Ice Pavilion on the campus of Syracuse University. For Jackson Cowan, Josh Solomon, Brooke Kilgore, and our entire SU Hockey Network production crew, I'm Caleb Spinner. We'll see you next time. But for now, that's the game. We're out of here.